The vision of all this has become for you like the words of a sealed book. So the first thing is he's saying that Isaiah 29:11 specifically says this is the book of Isaiah. It doesn't say that. It says this vision. If we take this vision to mean like the prophecy that Isaiah is giving, then it's like a sealed book. So it's being compared to a different book. So it doesn't have to be taken as the book of Isaiah at all. Rather, it seems like it's talking about a different book. Now, if this book is given to one who can read with the command, read this, he'll say, I can because it's sealed. And if it's given to one who cannot read, saying, read this, he says, I cannot read. Now, obviously, this is very similar to what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced in the cave where the angel came to him. He said, read this. He said, I cannot read, etc. But as you read it in Isaiah 29, at least if you just read it once, it doesn't jump off the page and seem like the prophet, because you see with all, it's like shown as a comparison. It's not saying, like, it's not presented clearly like this is a prophecy of the future, this is what's going to happen, etc. Rather, it's like a comparison, right? So this is what they bring, that they say this is not a prophecy, it's just a comparison. It's just giving a hypothetical example, right? Now, why this is the case is because these verses are later additions. So I'll show this. So this is, I have a number of quotes here. This is from the Anchor Yale Bible, Isaiah 1 through 39. This is a highly respected academic commentary. They say, the change to straightforward prose in verses 11 to 12 has also convinced most recent commentators that this figurative allusion to Isaiah prophecies as a sealed book is an editorial addition. This is what Kaiser Otto says. The transition from verse to prose shows that we must distinguish verse 11 and 12 from the short prophecy of warning in verses 9 and 10. ... We cannot understand the purpose of the addition until we realize what is meant by vision. ... It is also impossible for us to place an exact date upon the addition in verses 11 and 12. And then this is what Walter Brueggemann mentions. I might get the name, pronounce it wrong, but anyway, this is what he says on page 234. This prose commentary seems to be subsequent to and only a reinforcement of the oracle of the inscrutability of verses 9 to 10. So in other words, as the Anchor Yale Bible mentioned, these verses were added later. So it seems what's happened is that Bani Israel, they had this prophecy from some prophet that the Prophet Muhammad is going to be given the book in the cave, and the angel is going to say to him, read, etc. And what some scribe has done is he's taken that and he's placed it in this different context. So now it's in a decontextualized form in this different context. So it's not that clear that it's a prophecy about the Prophet Muhammad anymore, because now it's presented as an example. So what seems to be like they knew about this, they knew this prophecy, but just where it's found right now, it's in a different context because it's a later edition.
Wow.
So,
yeah. But this alludes to the event in the Sirah where the Medinan Jews came back after speaking to Rasulullah, and they were asked, is he the prophet? And they said yes, without a doubt. But are you going to believe in him? No. So that knowledge was with them in Medina, according to our obviously narrations, and it's clear as day. So they knew what they were looking for, and they also knew what signs to expect as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, this is Isaiah 29. You'll see that it seems corrupted anyway. Like the chapter, like Isaiah 29 is like a really strange passage to me, and it's one of the reasons I think it seems to be one of the more obvious places where corruption has happened, because it doesn't flow at all. So look at this. It starts by saying, "Woe to you, Ariel, the city where David settled." So it's a woe, meaning it's like a negative against Jerusalem. It's like a negative prophecy that's going to happen. And then it's talking about how, like, I will besiege Ariel, she will mourn and lament, etc. You will speak from the ground, your speech will mumble out of the dust, your voice will come ghost-like from the earth, out of the dust your speech will whisper, but your many enemies will become like fine dust, the ruthless hordes like blown shafts. Suddenly, in an instant, the Lord Almighty will come with thunder and earthquake and great noise, the windstorms and tempest, etc., etc. So the point is, it's starting out by telling you it's a woe oracle, meaning like it's an oracle about destruction, and it's talking about destruction, and then suddenly, randomly, just switches, and it's like so positive. It's like, I'm saving you from the enemies. So it doesn't flow at all, and it, like, the oracle randomly switches and becomes very positive, which doesn't fit with the fact that it's introduced as a woe oracle. So that's one thing. And then secondly, just look at the description here. By the way, this is section 1 of Isaiah 29. The verses 11 to 12 are in section 2, but anyway, you can see that the chapter has been tampered with. Look at this comparison. It's like a very strange comparison. It says, then the hordes of all the nations that fight against Ariel, that attack her and her fortress and besiege her, will be as it is with a dream, with a vision in the night, as when a hungry person dreams of eating, but awakens hungry still, as when a thirsty person dreams of drinking, but awakens faint and thirsty still. So will it be with the hordes of all the nations that fight against Mount Zion. Now, again, this comparison seems like very weird. Like, so people attacking you, and then suddenly God switches. Like, that's given as an example. That is like a hungry person who dreams of eating but awakes hungry, and a thirsty. Like, that seems like a very strange comparison. Do you know what I mean, Wissam? It again seems like some editorial thing has happened, because you wouldn't normally write like this. This is very strange. And it's the same thing in Isaiah 29 verses 11 to 12, where it's saying that the book of Isaiah is like, or it's saying this vision, like this oracle, is like a sealed book. If you give it to a person who can read, if you give it to a person who can't, again, that seems very strange. It seems like the mark of an editor, because and then it switches from verse to prose anyway, which indicates it. And then some, I think some scholars even say that.
So this is the prose part.
Yeah. Some scholars even say the fact that it says the vision of all this has become to you like the words of a seal book. Some scholars say that this chapter is not a vision. It's like a oral oracle, like an oral prophecy that he's delivering. So the fact that it says vision, it seems to be off because it's not a vision. So some think that's an indication as well. So there's a lot of indications in chapter 29 that this is that this has been tampered with. So they've taken the original prophecy that they probably had, and they've placed it in a different context. Even this example that you saw here about a hungry man who dreams of eating, but then he awakens hungry. Thirsty man, he dreams of drinking, but he awakens thirsty. That also sounds like the prophet, because we have like the prophet, he would be given food when he was fasting in his sleep, and he would be given drink while he was sleeping, while he was fasting. So that might be another one. But that seems to be what's going on with verses 11 to 12. And if you go to Ibn Ishaq's version, when the angel comes to him, he shows him like a coverlet of brocade with some writing on it. So he literally shows him an actual book with text on it.